Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the November 11th Veterans Day edition of Arizona Flight Training Work Group's bi-monthly meeting. I'm your host, Brian Baker, and this is my last hosting assignment for 2025. Next year, for our January, I believe Brent Crow had decided to step up and host the meetings for 2026. So we'll look forward to having him on at our next meeting. So I'm going to try and go out with a bang today and have a great meeting. So thanks for joining us. And as you may be aware, this meeting is being recorded. So please keep conversations professional and courteous. And as part of our normal housekeeping items, we don't want any side discussions in the chat, things like that. So, and this will be posted on YouTube probably tonight. There's some things I have to do a little bit differently because the last two meetings got pulled down from YouTube immediately because of a particular spreadsheet that we show in the meetings that has a bunch of names and addresses on it. YouTube thinks that we're harassing those people when we're just talking about the contacts. So I won't be showing that spreadsheet, but we'll talk about it a little bit. The spreadsheet that shall not be named, I'll show the link to it, and then we can talk about what we're supposed to do with that spreadsheet. So anyway, I've got a number of agenda items. There'll be some things for a couple of people to chime in about. And of course, if there's anything that I'm missing in any particular section that anyone needs to add, feel free to raise your hand. I'll try to keep an eye on it. Maybe Carrie can also keep an eye on any attendees that may have their hands raised or have something to say. So it is an open forum, and we welcome participation by everyone on the group. Let's see. To start off with, we do offer Wings credit for attending this meeting. So the Wings credit is based on the email that you used to log into this Zoom meeting. If you use a different email address for your Wings credit than you used to log into this meeting, please put that email into the chat so that when the government reopens and we can record Wings credits, then we'll have all the information so you can get appropriately credited for having attended this meeting. Okay. Since these meetings are bi-monthly, we do have information that is more timely on our Facebook page. So it's under groups and under AZ FTW, Flight Training Work Group. And so keep an eye on that Facebook page. If you don't follow us, make sure that you do. I think we're up to 600 and something followers on that page. And so it's a great way to get a little bit more timely information between our bi-monthly meetings that we have. There's occasionally some things in there about some event that might be going on, something going on with the stack, something may be going on with a particular airport that's got a runway closed, something like that. So make sure you follow that page and that you get alerts to new posts on that page. For great information, local information, and safety topics of the month, visit our website, and I will click over to that. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen here. Yeah, okay. So on the AFTW website, we also have a lot of great information. It's sometimes not as easy to find as it could be, but we do post the videos, the links to the videos of all of our meetings here. So you can go back for several years and watch all of the previous meetings. But where we have some great information is under the safety topic of the month. So these are the FAA Fast Team topics of the month, and the topic of the month for this month is avoiding CFIT accidents. And we'll talk about a presentation that's going to be happening a little bit later this month regarding that. So if you want to get information about any of these topics of the month, or you're a FAST team member and would like to present this information at your local flying club, flight school, uh, what have you, airport, then you can also get the PowerPoint and the guidance for this particular topic of the month. So we have that going on down here at Ryan here later on this month. Also on our website is the flight book overlays for ForeFlight and Garmin Pilot that you can get the latest overlay, and then there's instructions for how to install it onto ForeFlight and onto Garmin Pilot so that you can get the overlays and see where all the practice areas are, practice area frequencies, reporting points, parachute jump activities, areas, all that information on the overlay. Also on the practice area is information about the procedures for the Stansfield stack, the original source information for that, Coolidge approach procedures, the other stack, and then practice area videos about the Northwest, Northeast, and the various practice areas around the state, Prescott, and then some of the Southern Airport practice areas as well. So there's a lot of great information on this page. If you haven't looked at it in a while, refamiliarize yourself with the information. If you've never seen it, spend a little bit of time seeing what good information is on there. And please share this with other pilots and CFIs that you're aware of that may not be aware of this information. Also on here, we have from the flight deck videos specific to Arizona airports. And some of these the FAA has done, some of them the ASAG group has put together. So there are a bunch of great videos. And if you're going to be flying into one of these airports, you've never been there before, check out the video about that particular airport and you'll be better informed about it. So just some information about the website and where to get some great information about various things going on in the Arizona community. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe to it at AFTW.org is the YouTube site. And that's where we have all these meetings actually recorded. And you can go back and see those meetings. I think there's a few other things that we've linked to on our YouTube site. But make sure you follow that and get notifications for when we have a new video. All right, so those are kind of the housekeeping items. First section on the agenda is upcoming local events. And has Brent gotten on? Nope, I don't see Brent. There was a CFI Safety Day that had to be postponed, and I don't know if that has been rescheduled or not. Does anybody in the group know? Carrie or Lee?
As far as I know, it has not been rescheduled, still to be announced.
Okay. All right.
Same here.
All right. Thank you. Well, hopefully we'll be able to get that done. It's pretty important given the nature of some of the topics that we need to address with CFIs in the area, and the turnover in CFIs necessitates doing this on, I feel, kind of an annual basis. So if we can get this off the ground, so to speak, the first time, and maybe it'll give us a template to continue and do it on a more regular, either an annual or biannual type of basis. I did neglect one thing back up in the housekeeping that I shouldn't have neglected, and that is to welcome any new attendees to the group. So if this is your first time um, attending the group, or you haven't been on the group in a couple of years, feel free to unmute yourself and let us know who you are and where you're based, and if you're a pilot, CFI, or what have you. So uh, feel free, go ahead, anybody that might be new. I see a couple of names I don't recognize. So any new attendees? 5 seconds for any new attendees. You guys are all veterans. It's Veterans Day.
Robert Smith here. Can you hear me okay?
I'm sorry, say again.
Robert Smith here. Can you hear me okay?
I can, Robert.
I've been in the meetings previously, but I've changed emails and positions. So I missed a couple, but I'm back in currently working on a master's degree through Riddle Worldwide in aviation safety human factors.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us. Glad you're back. And we're glad that you could join the meeting and hope you're able to come and join regularly. Aviation safety, you said it was a master's thesis or a PhD?
Master's.
Master's. Okay.
I don't know if I want
Excellent.
to be that happy to do a PhD right now.
Yeah, yeah, let's see. Getting post-secondary degrees is kind of like having a kid or having several kids. First one seems hard, then after that, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. I think I'll go for a PhD. Not that I have a uh, postgraduate degree, but my wife has a couple, so I'm familiar with it.
Well, thank you.
Um,
Appreciate it.
well, welcome, Robert. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Okay. All right. Back to the upcoming local events. Number two on the list is that nominations for the FAA awards close at the end of this month. So if we need nominees for CFI, A&P, Fast Team Rep nominations, so you can go to the ASAG group or the General Aviation's Award.com and submit a nominee for one of those entries. If you know of an outstanding CFI this year, or A&P that's done just a fabulous job, or even a fast team rep, get a nomination in for those. I think the awards dinner is usually January or February, Carrie?
February 7th at the
February
Phoenix
7th.
Hilton Airport Hilton, and it'll start at 6 o'clock. Social hour about 5:30, and then we'll have the doors open. And a reminder that all those good things that are available on the AFTW website are made possible because people support the ASAC banquet, and it helps pay for the AFTW website. So we need your support. We need your nominations.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And then mark your calendar for February 7th, so that even if you don't put in a nomination, you can attend the banquet and support our efforts here. So that would be great. Brent Crow is doing a CFIT seminar at Ryan Airport on the 22nd of November at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's a week from this Saturday. Not sure if Brent knows, there's a big event going on in Tucson. It's called the Tour de Tucson on that Saturday. So the roads in Tucson, at least downtown, will be a little crazy, but Ryan's off the beaten path, so you don't have to go through downtown Tucson to get here. But anyway, and that is, of course, coincides with the topic of the month for November, avoiding CFIT accidents. So if you are in the Tucson area, go and sign up for that. It's on SPANS. I don't have the link for it, but you should be able to find it, register, and hopefully we'll see you out here at Ryan. There is a Glendale Pilot Controller Forum 24th of November, so that would be Monday. It's like, yeah, that would be Monday, a week from 2 weeks from yesterday, at 6 o'clock. And the topic is going to cover the runway numbers have changed, but the approach charts are not scheduled to be updated until March of 27. And Carrie, can you or someone explain why it's taking so long to get the charts updated for something like that?
I wish I could explain why it's going to take them so long to get the charts updated. I think what happened with painting the runway numbers was Matt Smith, the airport manager, had the money now, and he went ahead and painted the numbers because he had the money rather than when they were scheduled to be painted, which would have coincided with the updating of all the charts and procedures. We'll hear a little bit more from him on why he did it and why it can't be made back the way it was when he's addressing us on that Monday night. So,
Okay. All right. Well,
and
at least there's a
I know there was some speaking with Jeff Revolt, the tower manager at Glendale, because the runway numbers and things weren't coinciding. Phoenix Approach was hesitant to approve any IFR approaches into Glendale. So
well,
and I haven't found out the latest on that because of the government shutdown. So,
well, understandable. Uh, Too bad they couldn't have just taken the money and stuffed it in the mattress till next year to get it done, but whatever. I can't remember the last time I flew into Glendale, but it's been a little while. Um, okay. Any other upcoming local events that anyone is aware of? Air shows. We won't have had the Super Bowl before the next meeting, or we won't have had the Waste Management Open before the next meeting. So no big sporting events to know of, but any airport events, air shows, or anything like that? Okay.
Brian, there is also a pilot controller forum at Mesa Gateway on the 18th. And I'm trying to get the time for that up on fasafety.gov, and it's kind of slow to load, but it is on fasafety.gov. And I think Alex Morabili usually takes care of that, and it looks like it just loaded. It is Tuesday, November 18th at 3:30 at and Matt Shorman, other Phoenix Gateway, Doug Mack will be there. So you can sign
You
up for
said
it at
you said
fasafety.gov.
3:30?
3:30 in the afternoon.
Okay. Uh,
And that will be in
and
the Saguaro room at their terminal administration building.
okay. All right. Thanks, Carrie. Any other events? Okay. Um, AFTW website updates. I already spoke to that a little bit, and it's particularly about the KML overlays. The latest overlay is still from November of last year. There haven't been any changes to it since then. We like to kind of compile changes and do a lot of them at one time, so we don't have a new version coming out every other month or every 6 months. So I know that there's some things that are waiting to be changed, but we'll wait and kind of build those into a larger change. So Stacy usually works on that, Stacy Elliott, and so uh, pending any new updates, that is still the most current version, November of 24. Item number 2 is something that I alluded to. This is the spreadsheet that shall not be named because YouTube flags the video when I pull it up onto the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the URL for it, copy it, and I'm going to throw it into the chat. Stand by. Chat. Do. Okay, so you all can pull it up on your own and take a look at it. It's a list of contacts for all of the area flight schools, flying clubs, airports, TRACON, Albuquerque Center. Just a really great list of contacts to have. And so if you are a contact for one of those groups, or you know of a contact for something along those lines, a group along those lines that is not on there, please have them uh, make themselves known to be able to put that on the group. It's just a resource that we have to be able to get a hold of various flight clubs. If there's things that we see that are problematic coming out of flight schools or flight clubs or even approach or towers or TRACON or something like that. We have a means to reach out to those people in a professional and educational environment and talk to them about what the problems might be, but also to just say, hey, there's a great flying club at Deer Valley. If you need to build time, you should join that flight club. So anyway, that's the spreadsheet that shall not be named, and you can all take a look at it at your leisure. It is off of the Google Drive for the AFTW group, and please, because it is open to anyone to edit, um, don't don't screw it up for everybody. Let's keep it open and make any edits or changes judiciously and appropriately. Okay. Now maybe the video won't get flagged when I post it tonight. Um, Also, there is a flyer that we have, and that I can show. So this talks about the AFTW work group. And so if you are a flight club, flight school pilot in one of these organizations and you would like to spread the word, we'd love to have more people on the group and participating in the group. So you can take this and print it out. And again, I will throw uh, the link into the chat. And there's the link for that. All right. So that covers the AFTW website updates. So one thing that I wanted to bring up in this is not a normal topic, thank goodness, but related to the government shutdown is the FAA shutdown. And a lot of you are probably aware that check rides processing is not being done right now. The IACRA, you can't submit a form digitally through IACRA. You can send in a paper 8170 form, but the FAA is requesting not to send them during the shutdown. So, if you're doing a check ride or know somebody that's doing a check ride, they can't submit it. The DPE can't submit it electronically on IACRA, but he could fill out the paper form, and then you could wait until the government reopens to send the form in. So that's the extent of what I know about it. I know some DPEs aren't doing check rides. I know that some are and doing the 8170 form. So it really seems to be dependent on the DPE as to that being available. Anybody have any additional information or contrary information to this particular topic?
Mike Jesh is here from Squog. He's the chairman of Squog. Mike, did you have any comments about that, how it's going in California?
No, I don't, Lee. I did talk with one of my DPE friends earlier today, but it was on other issues. I didn't ask him about that. He did say he was doing 2 check rides today, so at least he is able to get them submitted. I have heard that DPEs are having to do the check rides via paper without using IACRA, but that's just anecdotal. I don't have any hard evidence of that.
I remember Eve at the Squog meeting this morning saying that flight training was pretty much shut down on instrument work, which hopefully will get back up before the week's over.
That was a separate issue with the inability to get practice approaches from TRACON in the area, which and inability to get flight following east of Fullerton. So the whole Inland Empire basically is unavailable on an intermittent basis, from what I understand, but often enough that it can't be counted on. So yeah, the training and the checking is not going on very much at the moment.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've also heard that some DPEs are charging additional for doing the paper form because of the time involved to do that. Again, that's anecdotal. I don't know that that's for a fact, but I guess that's up to the DPE. If they're having to spend extra time doing that, then they may want to charge for that time. But kind of what Mike was saying, item number 2, VFR flight following may be limited or denied, as well as practice approaches. And in fact, I just saw today that Chicago Midway, or not Chicago Midway, Chicago O'Hare, and some other airports have basically, they are restricting or denying Part 91 aircraft. Carrie?
Well, I wanted to bring this up with Mike, that I was on the CFI boot camp this weekend with Mike Gillette, and I know Bob, Captain Bob was on there as well. And one of the CFIs from SoCal brought up the fact that because of the shutdown, certain airports may not have towers, such as Burbank. And the CFI was going, hey, this is my opportunity to go into Burbank. And I'm going, why would you do that? Do you realize the type of traffic that's going into Burbank? And now you're going to go in a non-towered environment in there. And I just think from a judgment point of view, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should be doing something, particularly an airport like Burbank that already has a lot of commercial traffic in there. And then you throw in the aspect of ATC 0 on top of it. That's not a place you ought to be taking a student.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would discourage going to a Class C or higher airport in that situation for exactly what you talk about. Yeah, I mean, I flew my 182 into LAX once, but it was a little bit different. It was during the pandemic. There was just no traffic. And ATC is looking for something to do, and I needed a new ID badge at work, and that was better than spending 2 hours on the freeway. But
I sat there on the ones at San Francisco while we were waiting for a 182 to complete his touch and go at San Francisco during the pandemic.
Yeah, I flew final at 140 knots. I can keep right up with them. But yeah, especially Burbank, I just wouldn't mess with that. I'm not sure. Maybe Ontario, but Burbank, Orange County, no thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel with some movement by the government towards resolving the continuing resolution. But for now, we just need to deal with a limited amount of service. And I would say that, if you don't need flight following, don't request it. Just file a flight plan the old-fashioned way, and go from there. Obviously, there's going to be times where I mean, if you're doing the Phoenix transition, you got to talk to them. But otherwise, you might be expecting to be denied or limited on other requests like practice approaches, flight following, and some other things. So also, of course, I didn't put it on here, but Ernie and Craig aren't on, and FSDO's closed. So there's not a lot of involvement or activity going on at that level. Although I do know Ernie has sent out a couple of emails because of some things that were scheduled that had to be postponed and rescheduled. But until the government reopens, those things aren't going to be rescheduled. So and like I said, I know that some of the larger airports now are denying Part 91 activities and even some unscheduled 135 activities. So not that most of us have to really worry about that, but just so that you're aware of it. Anything else regarding the government shutdown that's been affecting us here or in this area or in the Southern Cal area? Okay. All right. Next topic we're going to move on to is airports. So in this subject group, we talk about things that are going on at various airports in the area. And Kerry mentioned that he and another gentleman had a meeting with a council person there at the city of Mesa, and there's some issues regarding Falcon Field that flight training providers need to be aware of. Kerry, I give you the floor.
Okay. We mentioned this a little bit in the last ASAG meeting, but since that meeting, we had a meeting yesterday, myself, Chris Nugent from the Arizona Pilots Association, Paul Rowley, who's a FAST team rep, and John Keith, who's also a AFTW participant, met at Falcon Field with Councilwoman Goforth and Corinne Nugent, who's also the airport manager, and we discussed the possibility of landing fees being implemented at Falcon Field. My position from an ASAG point of view is that is a very unwise and unsafe proposal because it will force a lot of that traffic, which we've got to do for training, and that's primarily what is driving this, is the number of flight schools that are based at Falcon Field right now. There's over 15 different flight schools. And of course, we go to the spreadsheet, you don't see 15 different flight schools at Falcon. So we need to reach out to them. But I would propose that about 60% of your training activity leading towards the private pilot is spent using takeoff and landings. And if that puts the pressure on the student to be paying that fee, they're going to go places where they can't or don't have to pay those fees, such as our non-towered airports in the South Practice area, where we've had 2 mid-air collisions in the area and one at Marana that resulted in a fatality down there as well. So if you are a Falcon-based CFI working for a Falcon-based flight school, you need to be aware of these proposals that are being implemented there at Falcon. Nothing has happened yet. It's going to take at least 60 days. Another thing that is driving this is, of course, Falcon is up there, if not number 1, number 2 busiest general aviation airport in the country, and all that flight training, when the planes are in the pattern, end up having extended patterns, particularly when we're on 2-2 and the airplanes end up over the communities of Los Cindres and Red Mountain. If you are in those communities, that's rising terrain up there. If you are one of those instructors that teaches your students that it's okay to start your descent when you're beam your touchdown point, as is in the PHAC, and you're told to extend, well, what altitude are you at if you're extending out to the edge of the delta? So maybe you ought to be teaching your students, there's no need for us to be descending until we're established back on final. So this flying neighborly and with that rising terrain that goes up to 2,000 feet up there to the northeast, Falcon's traffic pattern altitude is 2,400 feet. So how close are you to those homes? So it's really enraging a lot of residents that are up there, and that they've got some allies of people that are based at Falcon who would like to see the flight schools go away anyway. So, we can do a little bit to help our own training activities in multiple ways at Falcon Field.
So it's not a money grab because of all the training that's going on. It's an attempt to throttle back on some of the training by getting schools to leave or
It could be both of those, Brian. The city has told Falcon Field they need to be self-sufficient. Supposedly, they're running low on their funds because they have gone through their reserves, and they have a lot of upcoming expenses in pavement rehabilitation. Some of those are covered by FAA grants and ADOT grants, but when it comes into the hangar area and the parking areas, those are not covered by FAA matching grants. So the airport has to come up with those funds on their own. They did receive some financial income from the groves that are right across the street. If you've been past those lately, you can see those groves are failing. One, because of the age of the trees, they just don't produce what they are. And two, they're not watering them. So they're not going to get any income off the citrus that's coming out of that. And that is another expense the city is asking the city of the airport of Falcon to take care of, taking care of those trees when they have to be removed. And then what to do with that runway safety area that's over there. All of that is going to cost expenses. So Falcon has been inviting for flight schools for quite some time. It may not continue to be so.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. Thanks for bringing that up, Carrie, and making us aware of the what's behind the curtain going on there at Falcon, not just what we see sitting at the 5 deep, 6 deep at the whole short line every morning. Okay. Talked about Glendale. The runway numbers changed, but the approach chart's not scheduled to be updated until I retire, March 27. So, and then this is old news, but just keeping the word out is that down here at Ryan, the practice 6 right ILS approach is not available when 2-4 left is in use. Just simply check the current ATIS and you'll know. But that could change. You could put in a flight plan, leave Goodyear, and by the time you get down to Ryan, the ATIS could have changed, and it could be running on 2-4, and so your plan to do a ILS 6 right is blown up. So anyway, but that's just that came down earlier this year, and I've seen a number since I'm at Ryan. I hear a number of people requesting the practice 6 right ILS and get denied because we're on 2-4 left. So, any other airport goings on that anyone is aware of?
I announcement for Marana. Oh, was somebody trying to speak?
I was just gonna ask Brian if, since he flies there all the time, they spent a lot of time and effort upgrading the comms. Have those improved?
Yes, they are greatly improved. The automated ATIS works really well. So now that no one has to record the ATIS, it's just done automatically. There's a couple of notes that they put in, be cautious of wildlife, be cautious of bird activity, some voice notes from the tower that go into the ATIS with every ATIS broadcast. But the ATIS is automated, and the comms are working really well. There is some runway rehabilitation, resurfacing that they're doing on 6 left, 2-4 right, our shorter parallel runway. So that runway, it was shut down for about a week and a half, and then it opened for about a week, and now it's been shut down again this week. So I don't know how long it's going to be shut down. They redid it, and then they decided that they needed to redo it again or something. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, and that's what's going on at Ryan. Nothing major. The big one though is the people getting denied on the 6 right ILS practice. I'm sorry, Lee, Marana.
Yes, Sonny Durante would announce this, but he's in a noisy environment right now at the moment. But he's been working on with another fellow, live ATC for Marana, and it is up and running. Liveatc.net. You can put in KAVQ and listen to the current audio, and there's archive back for a week.
Okay.
It's a great learning tool.
Actually, I think the archive goes back 30 days.
Can you get it for back to 30?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Bob Smith is asking in the chat, with the shutdown, is it limiting the ASRS submission reports? Does anybody know?
I do not know. I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because there's a number of there's what's called the Continually Operating Reference Station Network, core stations, is operated by National Geodetic Survey, which is under NOAA. That's a completely automated system. There's other than, routine website maintenance and stuff like that, but it's a completely automated system, and that is shut down. So it wouldn't surprise me if ARS reporting is shut down, but I do not know personally.
Brian, is that system part of the GBAS for RNAV approaches?
No, it is not.
Okay.
Mike says that ARS site says that it's still accepting and processing confidential safety reports. So there's your answer. Thanks, Mike. All right. Any other airports? Okay. Next.
I do have a little tidbit of information. Buckeye has been approved for a tower, a contract tower, but it's a year to do their environmental impact, a year to do the site survey, and then who knows how long. So at least 3 to maybe 4 years for a tower at Buckeye.
Yeah. Moran is also approved for a tower, and they got past the environmental impact statement. So I think we're a year or two closer, a couple of years away now for getting a tower at Marana. Have you heard anything else about that, Lee?
I keep hearing the date, the year change from time to time. And hopefully Tito usually talks to the manager right before the ASAG meeting. So we'll have an update at the next ASAG meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, that's out in the distance a ways.
This is a little bit airport. Tom Cowan, do we know if jump activities have moved on the field at Casa Grande?
No new information there, Kerry. I'm going to check with him again He said that told me that they will let me know the moment anything changes, but he and I are due to talk before ASAG next week.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to airspace, as Carrie likes to call it, TFR sporting season is upon us. So going into this later this fall and this winter, we'll have a slew of TFRs. Of course, the biggest one is for football at Cardinal Stadium, and uh, and so that's going to be whatever periodic Sundays, Thursday nights, Monday nights, whenever. So just be on your toes for TFRs for that. There will also be some TFRs a little bit later on for probably some motor racing events, stuff like that. And then, of course, you never know when we might get a visit from VIP that causes a TFR. So anyway, is the season for TFRs, and so just be on the lookout on your EFB for TFRs. This came up. Jim forwarded this to me the other day to put it on the agenda, and that is to reiterate to the instructors and flight schools out there that IFR aircraft have the right of way in the stack and may be completely unaware of stack procedures. So somebody who was on a IFR flight plan into Casa Grande was cleared for the approach by Albuquerque Center. And so they initiated the approach. And of course, there were several people in stack. And apparently, one of the persons or in the stack was not happy about that and was not terribly pleasant on comms to this person on the IFR flight plan. And so through a little bit of digging, this person who was on the IFR flight plan found out they didn't know anything about the stack procedures. They were just coming from out of town into Casa Grande, and then unknowingly blew up the stack, and then someone pushed back on it. So just to reiterate that the IFR traffic have the right of way in the stack and may not be aware of it. And the same thing happens when someone can be on a VFR flight plan and uses the Stansfield VOR as a waypoint. They could be going right through the stack. This happens fairly frequently, and then but we need to make sure that our community is not aggressive in responding to these people that may not be aware of it because they're not from the area. And this kind of goes back to what Carrie was talking about, which is item number 2, the fact that it's snowbird season. Let's educate them on our airspace. So those two go hand in hand, which is why I kind of put them next to each other. And I don't know really the best way to, reach out and inform people who aren't normally part of our airspace community. I was wondering, Carrie, if we could do something like one of the ASAG videos, but just do it for the Phoenix airspace in general. So that they're not just necessarily flying to a specific airport in Arizona, but they're going to be coming into the Phoenix metropolitan area and what they should be aware of, the practice areas, the Stansfield stack, the Coolidge, and some of the other things that the practice areas and things that people just aren't aware of. If there was some interest in maybe producing a video just for people coming into the area.
Well, it's interesting you mention that, Brian, because that has been our number one next project for quite some time at ASAG, and it's just been finding time to get us into it. So that and the Bravo was our number one project for our next YouTube video from the flight deck.
See how I teed that up for you? Perfect.
Yes, thank you. So if you are out there and you've got an airplane and you would like to take some GoPro footage of flying through the airspace, that would be B-roll for us. We welcome your contribution for that cause. So,
I could do that. I've got GoPro points, mount points on our commanders. So and we're flying through the Bravo all the time. And we're even flying through the stack, as you've seen from the posts from some of our pilots. We put on Facebook when we're going to be in close proximity to the stack for one of our aerial photo missions. And we make sure that we're on comms with the stack and that we're let people know what we're doing when we're in that vicinity, because typically we're flying at altitudes that are around one of the stack levels. So but no, that's great, and
Brian,
I'm happy
would
to
you
get you
have the
some.
ability to also capture the comm?
Oh yeah, yeah, I can
Okay,
capture all the comms.
excellent.
Sure.
And Brian,
Yeah,
uh,
Lee.
ASAC's also working on, it's been slowed down because of the shutdown, but Matt Sherman directed us. We're working on getting LTAs for both Casa Grande and Coolidge that discuss the fact that there are stacks and the different procedures and the different activities that are going on there. So that will be in NOTAMs to inform anyone who's in that airspace doing their pre-flight planning. And it will also get Albuquerque Center air traffic controllers more on board with what all goes on there.
Okay, great. That's excellent, Lee. Thanks for that. All right,
And
Carrie, I'll let you
lead
know when
back.
I get some footage, uh,
Okay.
particularly of the Bravo transition. That's easy to do. And then maybe some next time we have an operation in the stack.
Yeah,
Okay.
and one of the things with the Bravo is the hotspot as people go through the transition, particularly southbound, and they might be going over to uh, Chandler or Gateway, and they leave the Bravo, resume on navigation, and they end up cutting back through the corner of the Bravo and getting a Bravo violation over there. You need to go out further south towards Firebird Lake if you're going to start navigating towards the east and make sure you are clear of all Bravo airspace.
Yep. Yep. Good point. Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times.
Yeah. And
All
Lee,
right.
as far as back to the letters of agreement or letters to airmen, there was one that came out of U-90, was there not, that also addressed their jump operations?
That was very good. I have a feeling Tom Cowan is behind that one because he said he'd take the lead on some planes that were coming perhaps out of DM and dropping jumpers without informing ATC. So the letter to airmen, Brian, you've probably seen it. It's on. It's a NOTAM on all the Tucson area, all the TRACON airspace airports. That if anyone, civilian or military, drops without complying with that notification, they will be written up.
A
Yep.
brochure.
Yep. Good. Well, and that is a nice segue for Tom to speak about jump activities throughout the South practice area. So, Tom, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brian. We had a seminar last week. The folks at in Falcon were very helpful. Dave Kitts hosted an event. We covered the status of where things are around the state. So I haven't seen that any of the other of my compatriots are on, but I haven't seen Frank or Pat or Justin on at the moment. But essentially, what we're going to see is an increase in activity because there was somewhat of a pause. Not has nothing to do with the government shutdown, just the way things were functioning during the summer. I'll start at the top. Sawtooth, the marine activities were essentially switched off for a while. They're back on now. So we'll see them here in the Sawtooth area with their work. Coolidge and Bishop, there's going to be a major ramp up. It's already started. It started in the last couple of weeks, and it will go pretty hard now through through the good weather into next year. As you all know, Marana, Pinal, there's going to be a slow increase there. mostly due to the beginnings of the work that's going on with the with all of the Air Force Special Operations jumpers being moved into DM there. And what's going on here is, just to refresh your memory, mostly it is Monday to Friday, and this even was the case when I was training myself in the Navy and others. It's amazing how most of the training is Monday, Friday. The weekends are used for makeup, usually to do with something that went wrong during the week, and it could even be weather, equipment, whatever. Most of the training is done during the daylight, the bulk of it. As it advances, it turns into the evening and into the darkness. And so and since you go through cycles of 2 to 3 weeks worth of training per class or per run up, the night is sporadic, but it's not continuous. There's also constantly periodic, what I call non-specified drop zone jumping. This is where most of it comes out of Pinal, where they'll have a spot in the desert and they'll just be jumping in that. That is sporadic. So most of the time, you know where these drop zones are. So that is kind of a status of what's going on there. There are some commercial changes that are occurring, and we're picking up a little bit on my understanding of that. I'm not that close to the commercial side. I'm learning it. And as Carrie mentioned, Casa Grande is talking about wanting to reinstitute some jumping there. It's very hard there, as all of you know. And I'm keeping a close lookout on that. They're in the point where the FAA is just telling there's no way. So that work is going on. Whether that changes or not, I don't know, but I'll stay close on that one for everybody. I know that you all are pretty envious of my backdrop. I can tell just by looking at Lee and Carrie, and I even see that Brian looks like he's looking and he's envious also. This is a highly desirable piece. I will gladly donate, Brian. I'll gladly donate anybody that wants to just send me an email. I will give you the piece. Why are you guys smiling at me? You don't. Something tells me you all are just not taking seriously that the world revolves around jump activity. But someday, and Brian, I will just tell you, having suffered through many advanced degrees at schools I had no right to be at, your wife is blessed with a strong intellect, because I will tell you, it was hard, buddy. It was hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's
know.
all I
I was
have.
there. I was there for it.
You
So,
know, okay.
and I'm still here, or she's still here. So anyway, thanks for that, Tom. I appreciate the update on that as always. And thanks for your participation and keeping us apprised of what's going on. There's rarely a day that we go up that we're not hearing about, jump activities at Marana or Pinal or Eloy or, any number of them all over the place.
You
So,
know, one thing that I did want to make sure that I don't say this enough, and we don't say this enough. Notice how once a tower goes up, you no longer have any jump activities. There are no jump zones. There are no drop zones at towered airports. So just think in those terms. The moment that happens at Marana, that will stop. And so Pat, I know, is working very hard to look at how he's going to accommodate that. But that's the stopping point. And when we have so many of these that now are starting to be towered, that's going to change the dynamic. I don't know what it's going to do, but I'll be working with those folks on that. And Lee, thank you. If people want to develop their own backdrop, I mean, they can. Lee's given you the link in the chat. Thank you, Lee. But
You're
again, if you all want this special one, I'm happy to donate that to anybody.
thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. All right.
We do have drop operations at one airport in the state with towered operations, and that's the Grand Canyon.
That's where?
Grand
Great.
Canyon.
Ah, very interesting. Yes, that is an interesting exception. You know what, Carrie? I'm gonna have to look at that
Yeah.
and see
What,
what exception, why that was accepted.
and when they have drop operations in progress, they send everybody out of the Delta. So that's how they handle it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Um, any other airspace topics that need to be brought up or re-brought up? I know we have gone over a number of them this year. Everything from um, the Rio Verde, flying over Rio Verde to not flying in the corridor between Carefree and Scottsdale because of um, the jet traffic coming in there. So we've had a lot of things over this year. Anything new that we need to add or bring up regarding airspace? Okay. Um, Next to the last section is current projects that we need help with. These are ongoing projects. So, um, we still are looking for people to help update with the practice approaches in the Phoenix area. And so if you've got a little bit of time, this is an ongoing project, as you now have seen from the fact that Glendale has changed their runway numbers. And so all that's going to need to be changed at some point when the charts are updated. But there are things like that that are going on, and approach charts change periodically. So those need to be updated. So anybody that's interested in helping on that, reach out through the AFTW website or leave it in the chat. Let me know or let Jim know. We can always use an extra hand or two with that. And so you can email Jim. Oh, I needed to change this email. Jim told me, stand by. He told me, um, okay. So this is the new email address that Jim would like to be used. So it is,
I don't know that I would do that right now, Brian, to tell you the truth, on your video for
okay.
YouTube.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. All right. I'll change it in the minutes. Um, all right.
You can put it in the chat, and Brian put it in the chat.
Okay. That's good. Yeah. So,
And while he's putting it in the chat, if people are online, they want to save the chat, up at the top, there's the three little dots, and that will give you the option to save the chat.
just make sure I got that correct. Yeah, I got it correct. Okay. Well, that is if Jim gave it to me that way. It's correct. All right. Very good. And again, the project of contacts with the spreadsheet that shall not be named, you guys can contribute to that. And then also, I previously mentioned this, the initiative to get better flight school representation at this meetings, that is using that sheet about AFTW. And so the link for that is in the chat. Anything else takes us to any other comments, questions, concerns, things that need to be brought up? Bueller? Okay. All right. Well, with that, our next meeting is January 13th, 2026. Still at the same time, 4 p.m., and you can be able to register on the AFTW group. It has been my honor and privilege to host the meetings this year for you guys. And Brent's done them before, so he's an old hand at this, and look forward to having him take the reins for 2026. Appreciate all you guys' professionalism and input and courteousness to me. So greatly appreciate it. And I will see you as an attendee on the January meeting. So thanks for attending. Everyone have a safe and happy holidays, and we'll see you in 2026. Thanks so much.
Brian, thank
Excellent
you
work.
for doing it and go last year. So AFTW is all volunteers. So thank you both very much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Excellent
Thank
work.
you.
Excellent work. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.